you look at Tony Harrison?
Like, I want you to just show him firsthand, like this ain't POF, this FOD. That mean this ain't plenty of fish, baby. This the fish of Detroit. I'm exactly what you see is exactly what you gonna get. Like, you get to see it. I'm not hiding from you. I ain't catfishing you, brother. I came to show you exactly what you gonna see. This is exactly what you gonna hit. This is exactly what you gonna get. Visualize. I want you to just sleep about me, dream about me, and see this body. Be like, ooh, I want to hit that spot right there. Hit that.
Tim, you don't usually get this opportunity. You're seeing him before weigh-in day like this. Well, what do you see when you look at Tony Harrison?
Look, he's a hungry fighter, of course, but he definitely looks hungry for sure. You know, in every way possible. He looks dry, but he's ready. You know, he looks ready. And
yeah.
He's approached this fight, and I'm keen. You know.
He did say that when he's lost fights, it's been because of the way he's done the weight, because he's faded at the back end of fights. Is that what you're expecting from him?
No, but that just sounds like excuses to me. You know, just excuses. There's no need to blame fights or certain losses on certain things. You know, so take it on the chin and move on.
Tony, how important is this fight for where you are in your professional boxing career? What does this mean to the rest of what you do in the ring?
This means everything for him. I'm letting him witness my greatness. I'm giving him the opportunity. So this means everything for him, man. Like I said, fighting for me is fun. I've been fighting every single day of my life. I don't think he had to endure half of the stuff I had to endure. So this fight for me is fun, man. Like press conferences for me is fun. I feel great. Like I said, I feel great. So yeah, no, it's no. I don't know what excuse you think I'm making, but I'm ready.
And how do you feel sitting there when he makes an entrance like he just did? The car comes in and he leaves you waiting. He's wearing the suit. It's all about Tim Tszyu here in Australia. You're the former world champion. How does that make you feel?
He got out of that car like a diva.
In what way?
You got out of that thing like you got like that, like you had somebody open the door for you.
This is why I'm wearing this.
Man,
I'm coming in for business.
listen to me. I'm not talking about what kind of suit you got on. I said you got out of the car like a diva. You had somebody open the door for you, like, come on, man, like this, I don't know, man. He's just different, man. He's different, man. But like I said, I'm not knocking him. I'm opposite. You know what I'm saying? I got my hat cocked to the side. He got a suit on, so I'm just different personalities, though. You know what I mean? I ain't mad at it, but what floats my boat float mine, and what float his. But Sunday night, we both got to get in the same boat. Let's see who make it off.
Tim, do you feel like the star of the show?
Oh, look, that stuff, all that star stuff, that doesn't bother me, man. It really doesn't. I've been in this sport for this particular reason. So for me, 28 years of this hard work all comes down to this moment. So Sunday night is where we shine, and all of this stuff, in all honesty, it doesn't matter, man. It really doesn't matter. And I never knew I could have sat here. All of this diva stuff or coming in the car. I just roll with the punches, man. I just do how it's supposed to happen, you know.
I like him.
Go on, Tony. You like him?
I like him. I don't think he understands like how corny he is, but I like him though. Like he think
what way, bro? What way?
It's cool. I guess that's him though. That's like him. I'm not like knocking. It's him, but I like him though. I like him.
You like Tony as well, Tim, or is it one way?
No, I don't like him right now. You know, I'm ready to fight now.
He like me.
There's no kisses and hugs and what's happening in his little world. But I'm coming here to fight. There's a dog in me right now.
Oh,
I feel like a pit bull, man, and I'm gonna come.
We got a fight on our hands, man. I'm not knocking us being a fight, but you like me. You like me.
What would I like you, man? Honestly, what would I like you, man? I'm gonna punch you in the face the next couple of days, bro. What would I like you?
I'm different, man. The whole Australia actually loved me. Like, I'm a hard guy not to love, to be honest. You just hard. It's hard for you to say it right now.
You're a funny guy, man. I'll give you that. You're a funny guy. I'll give you that one.
I'm a hard guy not to like.
What do you make of Tony's promotion of this fight, the way that he's talked, how entertaining he's been? Where do you think that comes from, and what's it doing to you?
In all honesty, it's not doing anything to me. I'm just solely focused, you know. He's a good talker. He's a real banter type guy. He's got a bit of that comedian in him, you know. Again, everyone's different, you know. Everyone's different at the way we do things and the way we approach things and how we are personality-wise. So let him be him. It's simple.
You talked to me yesterday about looking out to the ocean when we were at Bondi Beach for the open workouts, about what you were going to do to Tony Harrison in the ring.
Drown. Look, I'm coming here in a dogfight, man. And I'm going to try repeat history as what happened in the past with him and drown him.
How do you feel about that, Tony Harrison? I guess you've heard it before.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the things he's saying, like in my mind, I already know how the fight is coming. I know how it's going from round 1 to round 12 if it makes it that far.
You're going to be in a shock, man, if you're thinking
listen to me,
way,
I
bro.
understand it. He's going to drown this. He's going to hold my head underwater. He's going to hold my feet. He's going to drop the brick on my feet and chain it to a brick and drop me at the middle of the ocean. I can't. Like, come on, man. I know exactly how this fight is going to play out. I think the whole world knows how this fight is going to play out. And I've mimicked sparring exactly how I think this fight is going to play out in the best way possible for him. So, yeah.
What are we going to see then, Tony? How does it play out from the opening bell of this fight until however it ends?
However it starts is how it's going to end. I'm going to tell you that right now. And like I said, for this fight, expect the unexpected. I think he expects me to do one thing, but I know he's going to do one thing. But I think he expects me to do one thing. But for me, man, expect the unexpected. Like I said, I'm bars to the wall just like he is. So, yeah. It's gonna be a great fight. Like I said, most of these Australians are coming out because of me, not because of him. So, you know, believe it or not, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't here to shit on you, Tim, but
bro, in all honesty, if you went and fought some random Aussie, I reckon there'd be
no. The whole Aussies for me, my mate.
200 people in the crowd. So don't say it's because of you.
He's
Tim
just
Tszyu show, man.
Tim, he said,
I don't even know this guy. He laughing at me. He makes me laugh.
you might know him soon. That's Paulo Cuso. He's going to do some special things. But Tim, he's called you basic. He said how many levels you are beneath him, and he's just said you've only got one trick on Sunday. How do you respond to all of that?
Man, this is the opponent I need to show. You know, it's quite simple. Every one of my opponents have been sort of similar, just tough and swing. This is a different mentality for this fight. I feel in a different mode. I feel
he's called you back.
It's a different feeling.
And we're going to take a couple of questions from members of the media, but I'll just finish this section by asking for each of the fighters to say something to each other to finish off our official part of the press conference here. Tony, just some words for Tim Tszyu, please.
See you soon, Mike. I'll see you soon.
Okay, short and sweet. Tim, for Tony.
Same goes.
All right, let's go take some questions from the media. Firstly, from Fox Sports' Cody Kay.
Timmy, you've been smiling. You've had a good time throughout the week. There's a noticeable change in you today. You know Tony's dangerous and he's here to take everything away from you. What is he about to find out about Tim Tszyu on Sunday?
That's what he's about to find out. Tim Tszyu on Sunday. Simple.
Jermell Charlo's going to be here, the man that you both want to fight. It seems like the world is finally starting to wake up. This is a big opportunity for you. You need to win this fight if the next stage of your career is what you've worked for the last 28 years for. How important is it that you win, not just win, but win in a devastating fashion?
100%. 100%. 28 years, I said before, this moment has come, and I've put it all on the line, man. All on the line. I could have waited, but I didn't because I knew I assessed the calculated risk, and the risk presented itself, and I assessed it, and I'm going to get it done. It's quite simple, and I know what's ahead, and that's another motivation that keeps on going.
Tony, everybody in Tim's camp thinks that he wins by knockout, that he stops you. You're the former world champ. You cut your teeth in Kronk Gym. You've had plenty of wars against plenty of former world champions. The competitor in you must be sick of being looked past.
I don't think nobody looking past me, man. I'm here. I'm at the top of the top once again. one step closer, and like Jermell coming here for the fight, it just shows you why this division is the best division in boxing. That you rarely see a competitive fight like me and Tim, where the guy that has all the belts comes and commentates the fight. So, yeah, man, that's the kind of esteem that we need for this fight. That's the kind of fire we need for this fight. That's the kind of motivation both of us need to see on the sideline for this fight. So, yeah, man, like, talk is talk, man. I think, like I said, I kick my flip-flops off now. I got my shoes on, got my shirt off. I mean business.
He's never been stopped before, Tony. He's coming here to knock you out. Do you think you'll be the first to stop him?
That's my plan. That's my plan. Like I said, expect the unexpected for me. So no matter how this fight goes, no matter how fast it's paced, I'm along for the ride all the way through. So yeah, like if they think I'm in for a shock, I think they're in for one.
All right, a question from Nick Walshaw from Fox Sports.
Tony, you've said this week that Tim's fight style's basic, that his resume's terrible. Given all of that and how terrible it all is, why is he here fighting you for a world title?
I mean, Tim is undefeated. Tim's been put 21 guys in front of him and he beat them all. That's why Tim's here. Tim has a great promotion behind him. He has great management behind him and a great name to go along with everything else. So I'm not saying Tim is short of a competitor. He's a very competitive fighter. But like I said, to fight for all the belts next, I'm not discrediting him as a fighter. Like, everybody's trying to spin the words. Y'all do everything to make titles, but y'all trying to spin my words like I'm saying Tim is a shitball, and I'm not saying that. I'm saying Tim is a very competitive fighter, but to fight for all the belts, he hasn't fought anybody in a competitive level nor top 10 to be fighting for all the belts. That's exactly what I'm saying. But he's had 21 guys in front of him and he beat them all. That's why he's sitting up here right now. But the question is, what is he gonna do Sunday night? And I think that's the question that I'm gonna answer for y'all.
You said he has a great name. Do you think he's a great fighter?
I think Tim is a competitive fighter. I don't think he's a great fighter. I think he's a very highly competitive fighter. I think he trains at a championship level. I think he spars at a championship level. I think he travels the world and goes to Gleason's gym and all the gyms around the world to get American sparring. I think that he takes all the trials and tribulations to become a champion. He's done that right. He's done everything right. I think Tim and his team has pushed the right path for him to become champion. I think Tim is a great, tough, and competitive fighter, and I think this fight is going to be tough until the last.
And Tim, I guess the knock on Tony, or the narrative, is that in fights he fades late with his losses coming around 9-10 championship rounds. Is that a coincidence, or is there something in that?
What's that? Say it again?
The narrative around Tony is that he fades late, with his losses coming in the 9th, the 11th rounds. Do you think that's a coincidence, or is there something to that?
Well, look, I can't really answer that, man. Like, what can I say? He just, I'm not judging Tony from his past. I'm judging Tony from the preparation and who he is as a fighter now. Because what he is before is not what he is now. He could be much better, or he could be much worse. We're just gonna have to find out. He could be in full steam during those rounds 9s and 10s, or he could be hitting rock bottom. Who knows?
Any further questions? No, that's the end of those. So what we'll do now, ladies and gentlemen, is face off our two main event fighters. George, you might have to do some redecorating to get into position, but we'll get Tim Tszyu and Tony Harrison to face off. We'll get all the rest of the fighters just to remain in your seats for a moment if you could. This is our main event. You'll see it on main event television this Sunday, of course. To repeat the details, 10 a.m. the prelims begin. You'll see them on Fox Sports and KO. Then at midday Australian Eastern Daylight Time, it all commences. 5 fights on the
Bear down to follow a bit of a spicy.
We're going to let this play through because they may interview Tim Tszyu and or Tony Harrison with the team of Sean Porter, Jeff Finnick, and I forgot the female's name. But anyway, how you guys doing, man? I got a long weekend ahead, and I apologize. We're going to be here for about another 20 minutes to a half an hour, so we're going to get Big J on the line. It's date night with me and my lady, so, you know, I can't really be here too long, and I'm tired of shit. But Tony Harrison, funny as shit. You know, he's always been hilarious. You know, oh, wait, what are they doing? Showing up to the press conference shirtless. He did the face-off sit-down with Ben Damon in some Ugg slippers and a wife beater. Good personality. One thing I've learned about Australian boxing media is I'm trying to figure out how to word it. Like, it's different than American boxing media. They're not trying to figure out how to word it. I don't want to say uptight. Like, they're not with all the cussing and everything like that. They turn their nose up at it. But overall, you can tell these fighters, despite Tim Tszyu being, despite Tim Tszyu being Tim Tszyu and Tony Harrison being as outspoken as he is, they have good chemistry. I think you can say that much, right? And it's a clash of two worlds. Now, remember, Tony Harrison is from the mean streets of Detroit. However, it must be said that Tony Harrison, from my understanding, he's not necessarily a street guy. He grew up with like the Crunk, Emmanuel Stewart, Andy Lee, Sugar Hill, Lennox Lewis. So I guess what I'm saying is he's got that hood in him, if you're following me, but he's not, I'm trying to figure out how to say it. Put it this way, like Tony Harrison, you know, he got the Detroit in him, and he is Detroit, but also at the same time, you know, he's got some class to an extent. You see what I'm saying? He's got class. It's not like he's just some ignorant street type dude he's been around like some high quality boxers. And also he is the main trainer for Undisputed 130-pound champion Alicia Baumgartner. Oh shit, what up, Glam Masters? Glam Masters Crip. Let me tell you who his channel is. He's like a metal rocker, but he's got this good ass channel where he shows all of the old the monsters, the horror anthology show, the old Friday the 13th anthology show, Tales from the Crypt, by far my favorite anthology show. I forgot how old I was when I went to go see Demon Knight. I think I was about maybe 10 or 11 years old when it came out. But anyway, shout out to Glam Master. There's Sean Porter, Jeff Finnick, and Megan Bernard. By the way, shout out to you, Glam Master. If you ever need any help copyright, I'm here to help you, bro. Obviously, you know what you're doing. You don't need my help, but I'm saying, like, what you're doing is really, like, I appreciate that shit. You know, to be able to put that content up there. And I know you go through, like, all kind of battles, you know, with that copyright bullshit in YouTube, but you're very much needed for that nostalgic 90s, 80s horror movies, the Tommy knockers and shit. But anyway, let's get back to boxing. So that is Tim Tszyu, the son of Kostya Tszyu, this weekend on Showtime here in the States at 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is going to be only the main event of Tim Tszyu and Tony Harrison fighting for the WBO interim title. And the winner is going to be the mandatory for Jermell Charlo, who's now supposed to be there in attendance. Showtime released a press release about 2 days ago saying that Jermell Charlo was going to be doing commentary remotely from the CBS Studios in New York. But Jermell Charlo posted last night, about 24 hours or so or less, that he was actually going to be flying over to Australia to do commentary live for the fight. Now, I can only think and assume that we're waiting to see, Big J, if you're watching, we're waiting to see if Tony Harrison or Tim Tszyu is going to do an interview with this team right here before we bring Big J in. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I have Tony Harrison experience. He is the former WBC champion, the green belt, the belt for all of our major boxing champions, from, Sugar Ray Leonard to Floyd Mayweather, and then the list goes on. He was a champion, the champion. And Tim Tszyu has a lot of hardcore fans. Big J learned it better than me. But Tim Tszyu has a lot of hardcore fans to where when we look at Tim Tszyu resume, they're going to get triggered. Because I like Tim Tszyu. This is a very big step up from, there we are. All right, let's listen to this. Let's turn it up.
Left my suit in the room. I had a feeling. So
I've seen
We'll
you
talk
in your
after.
suits, man. They look schmick, man.
You look
they
great.
Schmick. Yeah, thank you.
How good do you feel right now?
First of all, just want to give a special shout out, to Latrell. Copped a bit of racism yesterday, and we just want to say there's no involvement in that in the sport, especially in any sport, Yeah. Say it again. What was your question?
Yeah, just how good do you feel? I mean, you look good. I mean, it's a great look to me coming out in the truck. You look ready, but
Man.
it's the difference between you looking ready and actually being there. So we want to know, how did the camp go and how good do you feel right now?
Perfect. Yeah. I couldn't say anything went wrong. 350 rounds I did of sparring, so that's a lot of rounds. And you know what? I tapered down at the right time. I feel in tremendous shape. As the rounds go up, the more energy I get.
You have
it's
a new
crazy.
dietitian with your team.
Everything, man.
How's it been?
Everything. Fight Chef
Making weight
Omar,
well?
man, he's just been perfect with me. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everything's just,
That's what I'm talking about.
Everything's just been no stone unturned, If you're going to do it properly, you do it properly.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind as you looked in his eyes just then, Tim?
You know what? It's always a mix of emotions. Usually, it's just you just look at eyes. We're both ready to go. We're both ready to punch on. I'm confident. He's confident. That's the best thing about boxing. That's the beauty about it.
So I want to say one thing. If he has faded in round 9, 10, 11 or 12, which I say he has, and he's been stopped, for me, which I've said is most probably one of the greatest strengths I've ever seen in a fight, and that's that your engine's the same in round 9, 10, 11 and 12, and that not many fighters have that engine.
For sure, man. I'm going to be a pit bull in this fight. A pit bull, but with a smart technician as well. People underestimate my skills and capabilities, but I've got a lot of tricks under my book in this one.
I always say that the engine is kind of what God gave you. Outside of the engine that we all know you're going to come to the ring with, is there anything different that you did in camp to get ready for Tony Harrison?
I think, as you guys would know, boxing's quite universal. You do the same punches over and over again, the same type of training, the same road runs. I'm just intense, but I think the way I feel right now is unbelievable.
Tim, watching him, you asked for this fight, which is an amazing thing, where you could have sat back and just waited for a title. Why was it? What did you see when you sat down and watched him? Why did you say, yeah, I can fight this guy and I can beat Tony Harrison?
I believe in my abilities. And I feel like I'm at the top of the chain.
But was there something you saw, Tim? Was there something you saw in his armour?
He's very sharp, and that's not a lie. He's very sharp. He moves around well, but there will be a point in time where, he will stop and he will slow down, and just got to test that chin of his.
Well, he's got the media all around him, doesn't he? He says we love him here in Australia, whether that's true or not. But is there anything he's saying that he's starting to bug you a little bit? He called you a diva.
That was a little bit of a low blow right there, but everything else, that's not right.
Well, they were saying earlier, Tim, about your name Tszyu, about Tszyu. And I was thinking, it's not your fault. You might have had the brains to sleep with Kostya Tszyu and someone with a name like that. His mother's obviously made the wrong choice.
I'm good to go. I think that he's ready. He looks like he's in shape, and I know a lot of times
he's always in shape.
You don't want to keep a fighter any more than a few questions. Where everything is peaked and he's ready to go.
Well, for 24 hours out, his face looks great. Usually a little bit drawn. He looks great. He looks the best I've ever seen him a day before the fight.
Well, hopefully we get to have a bit of a chat with Tony Harrison if we can steal him away from the media that are all around him. But I mean, just back to Timmy, is this the most relaxed?
All right, so we're here. They are trying to get Tony Harrison in. We're going to bring Big J in after Tony Harrison does his interview.
A little cushy run because of obviously his name, and obviously he's got great promoters and managers. That's all great, but the kid can fight.
Yeah. All right, we might not get Tony today, but we'll certainly see him back here tomorrow for the Wayne. Final thoughts, Sean?
You know, I really appreciated what I saw on the stage, and then again, Tim coming over here. You're a young guy. Again, you've been under your dad's name for so long. Eventually, you have to separate yourself and show I am my own man. And it just really seemed to me like we got a young man next to us who's ready for the championship fight. But it starts obviously on Sunday night.
So you're impressed how we get things done here in Australia?
Huh?
You're impressed how we get things done here in Australia?
I am thoroughly impressed at how you guys get things done.
I have one question to ask you.
Okay.
I was telling Tim, Big J that, like, Australian press conferences start on time.
Yeah.
Which is both of them. You know?
Who do you think?
I don't know, man.
You do know.
I think the narrative at this point is that Tim Tszyu is supposed to win this fight. You asked him a great question. What did you see in Tony when you watched him and say, hey, I can fight this guy, I can beat this guy? Obviously, he believes in himself, and I don't think his team would have allowed him to give up that position if they didn't expect him to win this fight.
So again, let me ask you, what have you seen to see who's going to win the fight? I'm gonna go
Tony Harrison on points.
Okay.
I am.
There you go. It's a big call.
He's very smart. He's very smart, and I've never worked with Tony. I've seen him through the circuit as amateur and obviously as a pro, but I know some people personally who have been in the ring with him, sparring of course, but they said, man, he was 2 to 3 steps ahead of me. I don't know what he saw, what he was thinking, but I could not outthink him. And if this comes down to who can outthink who, Tony Harrison.
Great to hear, guys.
Final
Amazing.
question. Do you want to answer your own question?
Yeah, answer your own question.
Yeah, I'll answer my own question. I think that Tim Tszyu will win the fight on points, but I think there's also a huge chance that around 9, 10, 11 or 12 we could have a stoppage.
All right, well, gents, very much looking forward to it. Thanks very much for your thoughts this morning. I'll see both of you tomorrow for the Wayne. That's going to be live from the Star Casino, Sydney Star Casino, just across the water. Join us from midday for that. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you order this fight. You can use the QR code on your screen. We're on air from 10 a.m. on Fox Sports before we head across to our pay-per-view coverage on Main Event at midday. Looking forward to it. Tim Tszyu v Tony Harrison. Thanks very much for your company. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Here, let me pause it. Okay, so I told Big J to ring us in 8 minutes. He's watching right now, watching along with the stream. And he watched the press conference. So I was just messaging him about 3-4 minutes ago. I was like, if Tony Harrison doesn't do an interview with the team, then that's telling me that he's hungry. Now, he showed up to the press conference. Let's go rewind back. With no shirt on. That can mean multiple different things. You know, obviously relaxed type of guy. But to me, that was kind of, put it this way. I don't want to say red flag, but it raised my antennas. It raised them up. It raised my antennas. You know, and he's spoke about the issues with the weight before in the past, and he's been at 154 for a long time. And Tim Tszyu brought it up. Hold on, let me refresh the screen here. Tim Tszyu brought it up that he was dry, you know? And right now, let me go check. Alexa, what's the weather in Sydney, Australia?
Currently, in Sydney, Australia, it's 76 degrees Fahrenheit.
76 degrees, that's not bad. No, that's
You
nothing.
can expect more of the same today
Alexa,
with a
stop. It's 76 degrees right now in Australia. What time is it right now over there? It's got to be 1 p.m. or so, give or take. The main event here in the States on regular showtime is going to be 10:45 p.m. It's a late. Normally, showtime cards start at about 9 p.m. Normally, sometimes 10 p.m. Eastern we're talking about. But it's going to be 10:45 because they're not showing any undercard bouts. So 10:45 p.m. Eastern this Saturday night on Showtime, and they're gonna go straight into the main event. So yeah, all right, we refreshed. So Tony Harrison showed up. Let's go back. And I told Big J to ring in 8 minutes or so, but I want to recap a good portion of this. So we're gonna see Tony Harrison show up. There he is, no shirt. Hold on, let me pause it. But not a lick of sweat. Dry as a bone.
And Australia's own.
And I was at Tony Harrison. I covered as media in the Barclays Center, PBC on Fox, Tony Harrison versus Jermell Charlo. I was there. I even interviewed Jermell Charlo after the fight. And he was crying and shit. Oh, don't get me started. Like, there's some bad blood with the Charlos. But anyway, I used to be really, really, really deep dug into boxing media. But anyway, Tony Harrison is about 6'1". I'm 6'2" and like a quarter. I'm not 6'3". I'm 6'2" and like a quarter. You know, with no shoes, I'm about 6'1" and 3/4, or or close to 6'2". But anyway, Tony Harrison is a tall 154 pounder. And as I'm watching this,
Undefeated fight.
No, it's Lawrence, where are you at for one? It's Sunday in Australia. It's a Sunday afternoon card for Australia, but it's a Saturday night fight for us here in the States.
This is Tim Tszyu.
My bad, I had to mute that song. I had to mute that. I apologize. That miscellaneous beat has a copyright written all over it. So I got to mute that. Tim Tszyu is going to show up in a Dodge Ram. He's going to get out very awkwardly wearing a suit. I don't think Tim Tszyu has any issues making him 154 pounds. He's very young. As you can see, he's shown up to this press conference that's outside. And when you're hungry and having like weight issues, you're not going to show up in no motherfucking suit. And especially if you show up in a suit and you're not sweating, you can tell like he has no issues with the weight. Like at all. But yeah, you're going to see his Dodge Ram pull up. There he is. And we're going to talk about the resume. You're in North Carolina. Yeah, well, if you're in, it's going to be 10:45. That's when the Showtime card starts. That's very late for a Showtime card. But it's because it's from Australia and there's no undercard. They're only showing the main event for this event here in the States. It's a $59.95 pay-per-view over in Australia and that oceanic territory, wherever there's a main event. Main event is the Australian promotional outfit for this event. And Jermell Charlo is supposed to be there. Now, I'm going to show you this press release here from Showtime. Here it is right here. Hold on. Let me show you 1 minute. Let me pull it up right here for you. So Showtime sent this out a couple of days ago. What is it? It's Thursday now. I'm going to say they sent this out on Tuesday. So it says, the undisputed king of 154 division, Jermell Charlo, will join the Showtime announced team live from the CBS Studios in New York City as a special guest to lend his expertise on a fight he will no doubt have a rooting interest in. Now, basically, as you can see, is that he's supposed to be commentating on the fight remotely. But when you go look at his Instagram, I need some pussy. Jermell Charlo. When you go look at his Instagram, let me see if it's still up. As you can see, he put this on his Instagram. Now, even though this is a tweet from Boxing Ego, and Boxing Ego is a fucking degenerate fucking lion animal, but still he retweeted it, which means it's like, or reposted it. So, which means to me is that like he's going to be there in person. Now, my theory is that Tony Harrison is being sent over by PBC to Australia to dispatch of Tim Tszyu, to beat Tim Tszyu, because let's be honest, globally, maybe not in that oceanic area of New Zealand and Australia, but globally, and especially here in the States, for an in-house fight, hold on 1 minute. Hold on, Big J. Big J's calling me. For an in-house fight, Charlo versus Harrison 3 is a bigger fight. And I think that's why Tony Harrison is being sent over there to beat Tim Tszyu, get him out of the way. So therefore, Charlo Harrison doesn't have to involve no limit boxing. But let's listen to what Big J has to say. I have to take these off because even though I'm doing all this nerd shit, I haven't really fully got all the technology down yet. I got a new computer, all this shit, but hold on, let me take this off. Give me 1 minute. And we're gonna have Big J call in, and we're gonna talk about the fight. What questions do you have for Big J from Australia? And we were trying to get Big J to the fight, but we basically, I'm gonna be honest with you, motherfuckers, we put our application in late. I take that. That's my fault. I'm sorry, Tim. Tim is the head of boxing media over in Australia for No Limit Boxing. The people who are controlling this event, I apologize. But we put our shit in too late. So I like to break that fourth wall and to let you guys know what's been going on. So anyway, let's go look at the card. Now, for Australian boxing, I do admit this is a pretty good card. I want to see the Isaac Hartman fight against Rohan Murdoch. I want to see Nikita Tszyu versus Bo Bilbin. I even want to see, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, Cohen Mazodiara, you know what I'm saying, versus Ben Mahoney. And Sam Goodman versus TJ Doheny. I want to see those fights. So I'm going to be watching those fights, but when it comes to the main Showtime broadcast, I'm going to be covering and obviously watching Tim Tszyu versus Tony Harrison. So let me know in the comments, who do you have winning? I got Tony Harrison. Now, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you, and is this a safe space? Can this be like a safe space? Because people sometimes don't understand that when you're a YouTuber, like, we be getting abused, man. And I've been getting abused by Tim Tszyu fans. They've been whooping me like bad. And that's emotional abuse. I'm a human being. So they be like, mate, you just chatting shit. You don't know what you're talking about. Tim Tszyu beat Takashi Inoue, Bowen Morgan, Steve Spark, Jack Brubaker. Those are big fights, mate. And I be thinking like, yo, bro, like, no. But they be like, Tony Harrison struggled with Gareth with Hurd and he lost to Charlo twice, mate. And I be thinking like, all right, I get all that. But at the end of the day, like, Tim Tszyu resume And I've been covering these fights. Let's go look at it. Let's go look at it. Tim Tszyu, 21-0 with 15 KOs, all right? I was at Terrell Goucher versus Lindy Lara. That's the only Barclays Center event for a PBC where they had no post-fight press conference. They was like, this fight's so trash, everybody get the fuck out. Takashi Inoue, Steve Spark, Dennis Hogan, Bowler Morgan, Jeff Horn had no voice, Jack Brubaker, Dwight Ritchie, Joe Cameron, they don't mean nothing to me. Is that a crime? Then, God damn it, lock me up. Is that a crime? Like, lock me up. Lock me away. Because I've covered these fights. 6 o'clock in the morning. 8:30 for the main event. I've been covering these fights. Look on the channel. Me and Big J, we've been here. We've been here. So for him, it's nighttime, but for me, I'm like, eye boogies and shit. I'm like, all right, yeah, man, I'm here. Getting on my nebulizer and shit, having to fucking clear my lungs before I get up and do my videos. And I like Tim Tszyu, but I'm a long time boxing guy. I understand we're in this generation where people be like, you just do YouTube videos, mate. You're not a boxing expert. You know that shit really, really brings my piss to a boil. I'm talking about the dual spinning. Like that shit is like, I get pissed off because it's like, motherfucker, I'm going to be here 5, 10, 15 years from now still covering motherfucking boxing. I do my videos live. Rarely any edits. Who else are you going to go look at to be like, yo, when Canelo versus Golovkin 1 happened, he did his video literally as the final bell rings. Ding, 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 ding. That's me. I like Tim Tszyu, but Tony Harrison, if he beats Tony Harrison, that's the fight where I'm going to be like, okay, all right, I'm sold. But until he beats Tony Harrison, I can't give him no credit for this shit. He's got to beat Tony Harrison first. But you have Australian boxing fans that be like, oh, but he beat Takashi Inoue. He beat Terrell Goucher, who fought Lindy Lara, mate. He's the man. And they be like, yo. I'd be like, yo. Let's hear what Big J has to say. We're going live. Why is it not showing up? Hold on. Yeah, what's going on? You there?
Yeah.
All right, I was just ranting about how, well, let's just jump right into it. I got Tony Harrison. Now, when we're looking, now hear me out. December 2019, Jack Brubaker. The end of August 2020, Jeff Horn. The end of 2020, Bowen Morgan. March of 2021, Dennis Hogan. July of 2021, Steve Spark. That was supposed to be Mick Zarafa. The end of 2021, Takashi Inoue. March of 2022, on Showtime, Terrell Goucher. And now, in March of 2023, Tony Harrison. It's not enough for me. Tony Harrison, Tony Harrison, I don't want to say, put it this way. I don't want to say that Tony Harrison has a better skill set than Tim Tszyu, but his resume is better, win or loss.
Oh, his resume is far better. But as I've said
But
before
why
in previous
are people
videos,
giving me or just overall fans so much shit for stating the obvious? Even Tony Harrison said, like, look, I can understand, you know, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but Tony Harrison issue is not with Tim Tszyu getting a title shot. His issue is him getting a shot at all of the belts. I don't feel he deserves it. And this is me going heel. This is not intentional. This is how I feel. I've been supporting Tim Tszyu up to this point. But I've been, since I've been back full-time in boxing, I've been reading a lot of comments. And I'm like, yo, I like Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu is a good guy. But his fan base is kind of delusional. So let me hear your thoughts. For one, before we get into the deep nitty-gritty, how did you like the press conference?
yeah, usual, typical Australian press conference. Nothing really ever happens. You know, people are saying on the comments it's blasé, and they are, because Australians are straight to the point. We don't muck around. You know, we very rarely curse in Australian press conferences. And when people do curse, we sort of look at.
Go ahead. I can't hear you. You broke up a little bit. Yeah, you broke up. You're back.
Right.
Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, like, we very rarely curse in press conferences, and when we do, people go, well, what are you acting like a dickhead for? So
yeah, it's different cultures.
We're not
I was
huge.
explaining that. It's different, you know, to where it's embraced in certain territories and certain, you know, it's not. It's different.
No, it's different. It's different in Australia, because we're like Tim Tszyu says, well, you can talk all you want, you punch on in the ring. So that's the way Australians most likely. I mean, we've got our flamboyant fighters, no doubt, but nowhere near as much as America. So, but my thoughts is that I'm sticking to my guns. I think Timmy's going to get him in round 11 by body shots, because he's got a big, long torso. That's a big target on. You know, that's a big target for Tim to hit. So
yeah,
I think that, you know, history has shown that Harrison gasses as the fight goes along, and if he makes a mistake, he'll get caught. So I think he'll get him in round 11 body shot.
Okay, so we got just so you know, we got 12 minutes, about 11 minutes and 40 seconds or so. So we got some time to really dig in and talk about some things. So Tony Harrison, he's on the screen right now, and he's dry as a bone. What's the weather? It's summer for you guys over there, right?
Nah, it's autumn. Summer's over.
Okay, so it's autumn. Is it early autumn or late autumn, close to winter?
No. It's early autumn. It's like it's 2 weeks into March. So it's basically it's still summer, depending on what part of the country you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so Sydney, it's what, 76 degrees. What's that about? 28 degrees. That's about.
No,
that's
it's
about,
70 degrees, 76
normal.
degrees in degrees.
Yeah, 76 Fahrenheit. It's about, I think, what, 20. Yeah, that's normally about normal for Sydney. I mean, down here in Melbourne, where I am, it's freaking freezing. It's like 20 degrees Celsius. So it's like probably 60 degrees or something. It's fucking freezing.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's pretty normal for this time of year. Yeah, I did see that Tony was pretty dry, but he's been saying all week that he's been on weight. So
I mean, but he does look on the weight. He does look it. But I don't remember where, but I do remember that he said somewhere that, you know, he was having issues, you know, because of his age and how long he's been at the weight, staying at 154 pounds.
Oh, exactly.
And he's a big 154 pounds, because he's listed at 6'1".
Oh, he's taller than that. Tim's 5'9", he towers over.
And as I'm looking at his resume on BoxRec, let me pull up here on the screen, he's been at 154 literally his whole entire career. He's dabbled a little bit above, but for the most part, his fights have been at that 154 pound, 155 or so.
And now that he's entering into his mid-30s, which is your peak prime for a male's strength, he needs that extra weight. So he's going to be finding getting harder to drop down to that weight. But
as I was telling the viewers earlier, Tony Harrison, even like he's from the mean streets of Detroit. But what I was saying is, and I'm still trying to make sure I word it properly, I don't want to say he had a silver spoon. I'm not saying it that way, but he has a boxing lineage and tutelage to where he's been around the big names pretty much all of his life.
Well, so is Tim.
From that crunk gym. Correct. Correct.
So is Tim. I mean, you can't get much better than Kostya Tszyu. So.
Okay, but Tim has the name. This is who Tony Harrison has on his resume. Now, these are credible boxing names that hardcore boxing fans should know. I'm going to run them across to you. Bronco McCart, Tyrone Brunson. I've interviewed him in the past. Willie Nelson, Fernando Guerrero, Sergey Rabchenko, Jared Hurd, Ishe Smith, Jermell Charlo twice, Brian Perella, Sergio Garcia. Those
the only two he hasn't fought are Rosario and Williams. He's the only two blokes he hasn't fought at 154. But those two blokes are pretty much done now anyway.
Very, very quality names to where we look at Tim Tszyu. Don't get me wrong, he's undefeated, but Jeff Horn, and we've talked about it, Jeff Horn.
Line up welterweight. Jeff
Horn,
sick.
Battle tested, a lot of wars. Jeff Horn was pretty worn out at the time. Bowen Morgan. Remember, it was you that told me that Bowen Morgan, he was like number 15 at the 154 rankings at the time when
he wasn't.
Right?
He was 140. He was 15 at 147 IBF at the time of the fight. He wasn't even ranked 154.
So are you hearing that? So repeat that again.
Bowen Morgan was ranked number 15 by the IBF at 147 at the time of the Tim Tszyu fight.
Okay.
So another blind-up.
So he was barely cracking the rankings for the top 4 sanctioning bodies at 147, not even at 154. He fought Dennis Hogan. Then Steve Spark, who was a blown-up 140-pounder, who was a late replacement for Mick Zarafa. Takashi Inoue and Terrell Goucher were both the real test, but when he fought Terrell Goucher, he was dropped, flash knockdown, whatever you may say. It was a flash knockdown. And now he's fighting Tony Harrison. So to me, and would you agree, that Tony Harrison is by far the biggest and best opponent of Tim Tszyu's career?
Oh, by a long shot. Absolutely his number one credible opponent. I mean, to date, his most credible victory is still Dennis Hogan, because that victory has aged since Dennis Hogan's won himself the IBO strap. Okay, people don't think it, but, people who just credit the IBO straps, how many have you won? So, So that victory has aged better because of what Dennis has done since. But, without a shadow of a doubt, Tony is miles ahead, worlds ahead of anyone that he's fought previously. So, absolutely his most credible opponent.
Before we talk about the undercard, how do you see the fight going?
Big man?
Before we talk about the undercard, how do you see the fight going?
I've made a prediction, and I stick to it. Tim Tszyu, body shot, round 11.
Then you think he's going to stop him late?
Yep, I think he's going to stop him.
And a lot of people are saying that. Do you think Tony's going to be winning the fight and then Tim Tszyu stops him late? Or do you think Tony's going to be, do you think that Tim's going to be cruising and, winning the fight and, and then stops him late?
No, I think it's going to be an area of dominance. Tony will gas it around 8 or 9, and then Tim will jump on him.
And Tony, unfortunately, has that issue of slowing down later on in fights. All three of his stoppages have come from him slowing down later on in the fights. The Jared Hurd, for example, he was up on the cards. According to the cards right now, according to the box rec, it was 75-77 for Hurd, 75-77 for Hurd, and then 76-76. But Harrison was down once in round 9 before he got stopped. So basically, you can say that he was up on the cards before he got stopped. Against Willie Nelson, he was up on the card significantly on one card before he got stopped. And then when he got stopped by Jermell Charlo back in 2019, he was up on one card and only down 3 points on another. So Tony Harrison has a history of starting fast and then gassing late.
Yeah, I think it's because of his height. He's too tall to be a 154-pounder.
Yeah. And he's been there his whole professional career.
Yeah, and he's getting older. So as you get older, oxygen deprivation, your muscles need more oxygen, you need more CO2 O2 saturation. As you get older, that depletes quicker.
I forgot the term of it. The like when your muscles lose oxygen. I forgot the term.
It's oxygen depletion. You need
a term for it though.
to be. I can't remember, but you need like 96, 90, between 96 and 98% oxygen saturation to be effective. Once you start dropping down to 94, 93, shit starts turning bad. So you need those high 90s to be effective, especially if you're in a sport. You know, if your oxygen depletes too quick, you're up shit creek.
By the way, Tony Harrison is 32 years old and Tim Tszyu is 28.
Yeah. Tim's in the thick of his prime.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely thick of it. Where Tony's starting to get the arse end of it.
So before we talk about the undercard, what's the buzz over there?
Oh, it's a shitload now. I mean, look at it. Alicia Bumgarner's there, Sean Porter's there, Jermell's showing over. You saw the media. There's a shitload of people there.
Yeah, I saw because they flip-flopped from Jermell doing remote commentary to now him flying over there. That's a big deal because that's a 20-hour flight, 20-plus hour flight.
Exactly, and I know why they're doing it, because they're going to build up the next fight. Yeah. And I honestly think Charlo wouldn't be coming over if he didn't think Tim had half a chance. Because Charlo Harrison 3 sells itself.
Yeah.
Because he needs to sell that Tszyu fight to the American public. He doesn't need to sell it to the Australian public. Australians will be all over it. He needs to sell that to the American public if Tim wins. I'm thinking, why else is he coming over? That and someone signed a big check.
I've seen enough of Tim Tszyu. You know, I like Tim, but I can't pick Tim over Tony Harrison right now. And remember, I'm going to be here after the fight. Like, me and Big J are going to be here, so I'll eat my crow. You know, but as it stands right now, like, Tony Harrison, like, I've seen enough from him to know, you know, and that tutelage that he has, you know, like, I feel he can beat Tim Tszyu. But, you know, Tim Tszyu is young. Put it this way. This is the rites of passage for Tim Tszyu. To where if he beat Tony Harrison, well, I'm going to be like, okay, all right, I can start matching him up to be like, he maybe can beat other guys at 154 and 160. But as it stands right now, I'm going for Tim Tszyu. I mean, I'm going for Tony Harrison. Fraudulent slip. I'm going for Tony Harrison.
I'm going for, because if Tim can beat, I'll say this, if Tim can beat Tony, I still don't think he can beat Charlo. I'll say that. If Tim can beat Harrison, right, he's ready for Charlo, but I don't think he can beat him yet. So,
okay.
But if Tim loses, he's that's the thing. I'm surprised no one asked, what are you going to do if you lose? Because if they lose, No Limit's only got Mixer Rafa to fall back on. That's it.
And they just got him.
Mm-hmm. Because No Limit has not had a great few months. All their world title fights have been, they've lost, and they've lost badly.
All right,
so if Tim gets destroyed, No Limit's up shit creek.
All right, real quick, since we're short on time. What's your thoughts on the undercard? Who are you looking forward to the most? The Sam Goodman fight, the Isaac Hartman fight, or the Nikita
definitely. I'm interested in every single one of them. Right? I think. I think Sam Goodman will have a tough fight against TJ Doherty and get up. Rowan Murdoch is really, really 50-50 because Rowan Murdoch's been out for so long, and Hardman can hit, but his defense is pretty poor. That's why Zarafa knocked him out so quick. So that one I think could be a contender knockout of the year. I think if someone's going to get dropped, they're going to get dropped badly.
And the Qudos Bank is fighting also against another undefeated fighter against Bo Belbin.
Bo Belbin, yeah. He's I know his trainer, Tazzy. I can't remember his last name. But he does a show on Boxing Deep Dive, and shout out to those guys. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that one because that's another. You know, who's going to be the first one to hand Nikita his first loss? Yeah. So this Bo Belbin is no joke. Is no joke at all. So I'm interested in the entire undercard. I mean, Chanel Dargan's fighting again. I think she's on the prelims. So the entire undercard is quality fight. But then again, No Limit always put on quality undercards. There's only been one or two questionable cards that they've done. So every time they bring out the big guns, and they're pretty much now the number one show in town because DNL's pretty much been withered away. So no limit's the way to go for Australian boxing at the moment.
Okay. So with that closing thoughts, and remember, for the viewers, we're going to be here immediately after Tszyu versus Harrison, giving our post-fight commentary. But to close out everything, since we're short on time, Big J, closing thoughts?
I'm looking forward to the fight. Tim Tszyu in 11. Yep, I think he's going to get him in the 11th round stoppage.
Okay, and I have Tony Harrison by decision, and I won't be surprised if it's a split decision. And only time is going to tell. We're going to be here tomorrow after the weigh-in. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be available, but I'm going to make sure I'm going to try to be available to make sure we're covering the weigh-in, because I do have some concerns about Tony Harrison. Now, boxers, they're very crafty in that type of way, you know, where it may be like, all right, he's trying to look cool and badass, showing up to the press conference without a shirt on. But at the same time, looking at it from a boxing standpoint, you're looking kind of dry. And, you know, I'm just saying, from a boxing standpoint, boxers do shit like that. So that's a concern for me. I'm really going to be looking at the weigh-in to see if he's all going to be sucked in and everything. You know, because he'll show up, boxers that show up to a weigh-in, you know, they try to fugaze and look like, you know, like, oh, everything's going good, but really shit don't be going good. You know, you got Tim Tszyu showing up in a whole suit on a 76-degree day over in Australia, Fahrenheit, and, you know, for the high to be 80, and it's like, okay, all right, we're going to see for the weigh-in. I'm really interested in the weigh-in. And the weigh-in is going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 hour after the press conference started, depending on what time zone you're in. But it's going to be 1 hour after the press conference started. So I'm interested to see how things are going to go. You can follow Big J at Old Matey. I'm going to put it at the bottom of the screen here. Old Mate Big J on Twitter. And you can follow me at T Street Controversy. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and we will see you guys tomorrow and this weekend as well.